Well, greetings and welcome to another series of weekly devotionals as we explore a text from the upcoming Sunday lectionary texts and offer some thoughts for reflection and prayer and meditation. We're sticking with the book of Exodus this week, the story of Moses' interaction with God after God has given Moses the Ten Commandments and the people of Israel are out in the desert, and the whole episode of the golden calf has taken place. The people fashioned a calf out of gold and worshipped it, which did not please God very much. So this is an episode shortly after that has taken place. And I want to begin by just sharing a story from when I was a child, when I was younger. I used to bargain a lot with God. I would pray, if I wasn't feeling well, I would pray to God to make me feel better, and I would offer this bargain. If you make me feel better, or if perhaps I wanted to go somewhere fun, I would say, if you give me good weather tomorrow, I'll be the best kid ever. I won't commit any sins, and this kind of bargaining would take place all the time. And I'm not sure that it ever really worked, or that my relationship with God really works that way. But I mention that because in the opening verses of this passage that we're looking at in chapter 33 of the book of Exodus, we hear these verses. Moses said to the Lord, "See, you have said to me, bring up this people, but you have not let me know whom you will send with me. Yet you have said, I know you by name, and you have also found favor in my sight. Now, if I have found favor in your sight, show me your ways, so that I may know you and find favor in your sight." So in this little brief exchange between Moses and God, Moses bargains with God, but in this particular instance, it works. God grants Moses his desire, his petition. And again, I'm not sure things really work that way between us and God, but I think this little episode, this little exchange between Moses and God does demonstrate something essential about God's character, which is important for us. When I was growing up, I was sort of taught that God was rigid. God was rigid in God's ways, and that honestly, to kind of bargain with God or argue with God or petition God in some respects was disrespectful in some ways, and that God was very, very rigid. And I think that often in the church, we think that about God, and we certainly, that sort of plays out in how we treat one another in the church. This person in the church is responsible for this thing, this particular task, and it can never change. And this is the way we do things in the church, and that can never change. I think of this poem, this favorite poem of mine by Robert Frost called "The Mending Wall," where it tells a story about two farmers who are building a stone wall between them. And the one farmer wonders, why is that so? We don't have livestock that can get into each other's field. We're just planting trees and they're not going to go anywhere. Why do we need a wall between us? And his neighbor replies, "Good fences make good neighbors." And that's how we often treat one another. We close each other off. We're not very open to new ways of doing things, to new ways of sort of relating to one another. But in fact, I think that this episode in the book of Exodus demonstrates that God is open. God is always open-minded, and God can change perhaps even God's mind about certain things, and that we too perhaps can learn a lesson from that we can certainly bargain with God or argue with God or petition God. God will listen. God hears, God responds, and it serves as a good lesson for us too, that perhaps we might try to be more open and more open-minded in our relations, our dealings with one another. In our congregation at Forks UCC, I did notice this because of the pandemic. We're sort of forced to change certain things, and maybe at the end of this all, that's a good thing. We actually God forbid, change the date of the rummage sale this year, which I never thought I would ever see happen. That's sort of the sacred cow of our congregation, the rummage sale. But if we can change the date of the rummage sale, boy, we can change just about anything. And so being open and open-minded and open to change is a good thing, and it certainly reflects, I think, the character of our God. Amen.